Hello and welcome to one more video from me, Max Sinclair, the little guy in the corner. Hello. Today I'm going to cover another helpful little topic within the paid ads world, in particular the Facebook ads world, and that is how to set up your columns, in particular for lead generation this time. So I did do an e-commerce version of this as well, but today I'm going to focus on lead generation. So why is this important? Ultimately, if you don't have this set up right, you don't know where the problem lies. So in all marketing, really, you've got this funnel going on. You've got the initial point when someone discovers you as a business, and then that goes all the way through to when they actually sign up and purchase your product, and even beyond that into repeat purchase and all that kind of good stuff. So understanding and setting up these columns correctly means that you can see that entire funnel nowadays within Facebook, and you can do this with other channels too, and that leads you to be able to understand and probe into why is it that my ads maybe aren't working as much as I'd like, or maybe they are working and you just think that actually where's the space for most improvement. So that's what I'm going to cover today, and I have got a document which sums up each of these columns. So if you want to get that yourself, you can send me an email at max@snowballcreations.com. Yeah, my name is Max, by the way, Sinclair. I'm a founder of Snowball Creations. We're a marketing agency that does this kind of paid ads work for lots of different companies. We do Facebook, Google, LinkedIn ads, as well as LinkedIn lead generation and social media content. So I know this stuff pretty well. And so, yeah, let's get into it. So very firstly speaking, this is just like an average short-term campaign we did for somebody just over, I think it was a pretty short space of time, of a few weeks maybe. And it got them a cost per lead of £28, and their target was 40, so perfectly happy, but very small, didn't really scale it or anything. We moved on to something else. But it gives you a good example of an average campaign where we've got a few different ad sets built within a campaign, and then each of those will have its own ads, obviously, or ad. So firstly, where do we start? Always having on and off first, and surprisingly that's just helpful to know if it's running or not. The ad set name, unsurprisingly, is helpful to have that early on, so you can just register which is which. Date created is often actually important to remember and know about. So when you're also turning stuff off and on, you're testing various things to try and decide, have they had enough time yet? You'll look at things like impressions as well to decide whether they've had enough time and amount spent. But date created is also important to remember as a kind of clarity check that maybe it's only actually been running for 4 days and you're already flipping out that your account has or your campaign has not delivered you a great return on investment. The budget. So this generally, I often use campaign budget personally, but it's also good to have that there just in case you've set it here. Amount spent. So this is very important to remember, as obviously in this exact scenario, you might have thought, okay, this one's the best because it's got us 4 leads at a cost per lead of £28. But if you pause to think about that for a second, this has only spent £2.70 and this one only £0.47. So technically speaking, we could keep these two audiences running up to say £20 or even technically £27. And if they then got a lead, they would actually be at a lower cost per result or cost per lead in this situation. And so they would technically at that point be giving you better results than this business owner audience. So remembering your amount spent and having that early shown and making sure that you give each audience that you're testing or whatever it is that you're testing enough money spent to actually know whether it's going to beat the cost per result that you've achieved already. And then I always have result and cost per result straight away. So this is kind of out of the funnel thing, but it just means that whenever you just jump into the this whole setup, you can very quickly see what is ultimately the most important result, which is the result. So the thing that you're most looking for, which in lead generation is leads. You're trying to get people to subscribe or sign up or book a call or whatever that might be. Then we go into more of the overall funnel. So this is the very topmost point of the funnel, is just people initially having your ad in some format show up in Facebook or Instagram on the stories or wherever it is. So this is the biggest, easiest number to get. It's the amount of people that have at some point had it show up in their feed in some way. So this number can obviously be massive, and ultimately it's extremely shallow, so don't ever worry too much about it. But the next one along is reach. So this is much more specifically the number of people who saw your ads at least once. Reach is different to impressions, which may include multiple views. So impressions is like, let's say I have the same ad show up twice in a feed, for example, because I'm kind of just scrolling through. That would mean I've had 2 impressions but 1 reach. And so my frequency is ultimately the combination of these 2 factors. So 7,679 times 1.69 equals 12,974. So frequency, you want to just make sure in small remarketing audiences this can go up to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times frequency and actually be okay. Cold audiences though, you want to have this not going too high. It does vary a lot, but kind of like when you above kind of like 3 times, I'd start to say it's very possible with a cold audience that you want to try something new, because cold is meant to be going to new people, obviously. So if you've got 3 times, that means the audience has on average seen this ad 3 times already, or each person has seen it 3 times already. So be aware of frequency, and it's also it's a consideration for the impressions and reach. So that's why I have it quite high up within this column setup. Cost per 1,000. So this is how much does it cost to have 1,000 of these impressions. So say 12 impressions, 12,000 means 12 CPM. So to have all of those people see it, it costs £8.67. So an average kind of cost per 1,000. If you have a very expensive thing that you're trying to sell, generally the CPM goes up. So it might be more like 15 to 30 pounds CPM. Or if it's e-commerce, for example, is much lower. It's like can be down to like £2 or £3 CPM, for example. This is, I think, generally if it's going to be up near like 15 to 20, then that's generally a sign that you might want to be aware of it at the very least and be thinking, can I get that better and lower? Because if you're spending loads of money just to have 1,000 people see your ad, likely because the ad itself is the problem, like the creative that you're using or the copy that you're using is not hitting home with your audience, so they're just kind of scrolling past it or they're skipping it in the stories or whatever, then that can lead this to be very high. Clicks, so this is the next stage in the funnel, so actually getting people to click on something in the ad. This is just all clicks, see? And so this obviously is the next stage of progression. Cost per click. So again, very important to remember, normally the cost per result of some kind is more important than the total quantity. Both are important in different ways. But in this scenario, for example, this has 250 clicks, this only has 8. So you might be like, oh, well, this one's way better. But it's ultimately because we've just spent 112 and this one only spent £2.71. So again, if you actually look at the CPC, the cost per click, actually the cost per click in this scenario is better with the website visitors. So this technically might mean that you're going to get better results with this particular audience because the quality of those or the affordability of those clicks was better. Link clicks. So this is, you can get clicks on an advert which don't actually take you to the specific link. So they could be clicking in other places within the advert, and that leads to whatever other places within the social network or something. So link clicks is another step further down. So cost per link click is more important than cost per click. Unique clicks. So it could just be that one person keeps clicking on the ads because they just love it, but whatever. So you need to just be aware if there's a big disparity between unique and total cost per clicks, then it's just something to be aware of. Click-through rate. So this is what percentage of people see the ad ultimately click through. So again, this is a really good one that kind of like avoids the issue of if you just spent loads of money on one ad and had loads of people see it, so you get loads of clicks, then that doesn't necessarily mean it's better. It just means that you spent more money on that one. So click-through rate is a really classically strong metric to consider to decide whether the whole kind of ad creative and kind of value proposition is hitting home with the audience. click-through rate, link clicks. This is relatively similar, but specific to the click-through rate for the links. So then landing page. So this is different to the amount of people that might click on it versus actually land at the page. So unique link clicks is 4 here, but it's 3 there, or it's 90 here, but it's 60 there. So what can happen is literally people, there's various reasons for this, but the most common thing might be that they've clicked on the link, they've swiped right or swiped up or something, but they instantly left because they're like, no, I didn't mean to click on that ad. I was just trying to fucking move along in my stories or whatever it is. So then they leave instantly and they never even open the landing page. So landing page views means they've literally opened up your website, and unless the JavaScript triggers, so the Facebook pixel triggers, this won't register. So this only registers if that triggers. So that's why this number can be smaller than the overall link clicks. And so again, cost per landing page view is also very important. So again, much cheaper actually for us to get the average person to this website, even though this one had way more spent on it and has had 60 people get to the website versus 3 here. And then lastly, content views isn't always connected and registered, but in some cases it's useful. So content views might be, in an e-commerce situation, it'd be products content is a product or something, but maybe you have different service pages. So you could register those as content pages. So then when someone registers, it goes from maybe your home page to your whatever, Facebook ads page or LinkedIn ads page or something, then that might be registered as a content view. Or maybe you're a waste management company, you've got like a home recycling page and a business recycling page. So you could register those as content views. So it's one more step along. So someone lands to your home page or landing page, and then they go into a separate page of your website. So it's a signal that people are going further along. And then lastly, the most important thing within B2B lead generation, obviously, is lead generation. So how many leads are you getting? And then what is the cost per lead? So all the way up until now, obviously, all of the metrics say that actually this audience was doing better than this audience. So the type of people within this 1% lookalike for website visitors was actually liking the ads much more than the interest-based audience of business owners. But realistically in this situation, it's because we spent way more and we didn't spend enough on these two to be able to discover if they would get us leads. But overall, if we were assuming that they had spent the similar amounts, if you would be looking at this did deliver us 4 leads at a cost per lead of £28 per lead, which is great for this particular client. They were looking for anything under £40. So when we delivered them £28 cost per lead, they were very happy, and we could scale this up potentially if we wanted to later on. So this is the flow. There are a bunch of others which I don't really care about as much. So the bid strategy, generally I set it as this. You might want to put that up near the start if you're testing that. So for example, maybe you want to be testing, instead of conversions into lead, you might change it to clicks if you've got a very low number of leads. So you might want to go up in the funnel in terms of what you're optimizing for. Last significant edit, that might be nice to have up near the front. It's up to you really. Attribution settings generally is always the same. When is it going to end? I generally have them ongoing, so it's kind of not that necessary. Same with the schedule. Website purchases, this isn't e-commerce, so I've just moved those over. You can do things around ROAS to set that up to see it, but in this scenario we didn't have that set up, so this was further down. And again, if you had a video campaign, so if you were, for example, trying to get lots of people to view videos, and then you were remarketing to people that have viewed those videos, then that could be useful to move these video view percentages further up the funnel in these columns. But for now, in this situation, we didn't have that, so it's further down. So as you can see, we basically work through this funnel. We have the main thing that we just wanted to know about with the cost per result, but then after that, you're going through the journey of the customer. So seeing the advert, actually clicking on something, and how much does it cost to get us to that point? Going and actually clicking on a link to the website, actually landing at the website, viewing particular types of content, and then ultimately submitting some kind of a lead, so a call booked or whatever else it might be. So this is the whole funnel. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully this has kind of been clear enough for you as well. If you want to have all of these columns properly set out, so you don't have to kind of like start and stop the video all the time, just send me an email, max@snowballcreations.com, and I'm happy to help, and I'll send that over in a Google spreadsheet. And please do hit subscribe if this has been valuable to you. I love making these, and if you have other videos you'd like me to make, then please do let me know. I'll link the e-commerce one as well in case you were curious about how we set up this with e-commerce instead. And otherwise, yeah, appreciate you watching, and hopefully see you again soon.